If it's Tuesday, it's the Wheels in Motion show. So let's take a look at what we got. Obviously, oil, 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 and see what's going on. Quite the debacle. And so, if we go back and you look at what did we know before all this went down, you'll recall this little ditty here. The outside inside week, I can shrink this down. These things are going down into nothing again on the reverse split. But here, this is something we look for. The outside week, right? Outside week, then inside week. They're willing to pay up and sell down. Then they met in the middle, and then boom, here, inside and down the last week, continuation, and that's how it starts. And it's the first time in history crude trade negative. So a lot of these ETFs are just getting obliterated like this in USO. Right? And UCO just had to reverse split to stay alive, and you can see they were all doing the same thing. And so at this point, if you're not trading the crude futures, what we're looking at is SCO really, because now it's at 54 and moving around, and that's good. And you can see something really nice like that right here. Look at this. Inside 15, down here, below 60.53 in the next 15 minutes. Dropped about $9. So SCL, we're sticking on that. And as far as the stocks are concerned, you probably get some head scratching out of this stuff, because if you go to the XLE, you're going to see this still an inside weak and green on the week. So a lot of this may have to do with some speculation about getting bailed out and whatnot, and that's what's keeping like airlines not going into new lows, although they're close. But so for tomorrow, you got OIH also going inside day. XOP has actually been up 3 days in a row. So we'll see. There's a lot of inside days in there, so there's still a bunch of tight ranges, but we'll be watching the ones that move, like EOG and PXD, stuff like that. So it is what it is. Let me get this here. Well, like I said, still inside week. We haven't even had that break, so we'll see. It's something that most people would be anticipating with what's going on in oil, but that's not always how the market works. So we'll be aware of that, and certainly see how that crude goes going forward. So as we come to the end of the month, we want to be aware of inside months. SPY going to be an inside month for sure. So the thing is, how are we going to? Last month we are going to say, how are we going to take that or that out? Now we're down to how do we take that or that out, and if we start selling off a little bit more, we're nowhere near either or that either. Now, obviously, it's plenty a month, but nowhere near any major signal on the monthly basis in the SPY. QQQ almost made it up there, and now it's backing off the diamonds. Here, nowhere near. This is nowhere near, and that's why you're going to have stuff like Boeing. Look at this. Doji on the month doing nothing, and would be much closer to taking the downside. The small cappers here, nowhere near up into here. These guys having all sorts of trouble, and we can expect that with the energy sector and stuff like that. So we want to be aware of that. But for this week, since there's enough movement during the day, because we still have a high VIX, and you don't want to forget about that. As any other week, we want to see if we're reconfirming or negating what we know. So at this point, it would still be an inside week, but you're much closer to taking that out in the SPY. End of the world? No, but that's a 2-2 reversal and something you'd want to know about for the downside. QQQ here, still an inside week, but getting closer, so stay aware of that. And if we go back to SPY for just a second here, go back into the 60, and you can see here, if we get rid of all this, people always want to know, where's the try, Rob? I'm like, right here. There. And up in here. So we'll see if this expands downward. So it gaps down, holds down into here, and we'll see if we can take all this stuff out, and then that would be or not an inside week, if we can do that. Another thing that it's a little more difficult too, because it was a really good month because we knew exactly where to go. 2-2 reversals on the monthlies. So the problem was we got into exhaustion risk. And what that means is that Amazon did its job. It went into the highs. You had your 2-2 reversal. We knew about that. And a lot of those things did that kind of thing, right? And that's great. It's just that after you get up into here, then it calms down a little bit. And you can see this here, shooter counters hammer. That's something we look for, because once this, any 2-2 really, but in this case, right, when you take this out, we're looking to take that out, because we know outside bar phenomenon exists, and we know it doesn't have to be on a time frame that the software is presenting. So on a 2-day chart, this is an outside bar of that, and that did its job, and that's where it exhausts. Just like I'm exhausting in the upside, it takes that out. Then the question is it weak enough for that? And if not, it pops right back up, like so, and then you get your inside bar, and you come back up into here, and then here you can see all of this chop shop during the day was all right inside of here. So in some instances, it's like an inside day. Outside of the opening, it couldn't break the range. So that's something to be aware of, stuff like that. So we have got exhaustion, stuff like that, and on the upside, because of the SPY doing this, so far this week, it's red and getting closer to taking that out. When you scan and you look at how many stocks are taking out last week's highs compared to last week's lows, the list is far to the downside, right? That can change, at any time that can change. SPY would have to, on the daily, if you gapped up and took this high out tomorrow, that could change a bunch of that. And that's why we're constantly watching which side are getting taken out of the week, and because we know a lot of inside months, we know a lot of the months to the upside have exhausted. We know a lot of things are nowhere near taking out last month's lows, even if we do go down. So it's day by day, week by week, 60 by 60 minute. Few on the upside here on the weeklies. Take a look at Carvana, and still driving through here. And so this just took out last month's highs, right? And that's good, just running out a month. But it is a 2 to the upside until proven differently. And on the weekly, just barely takes out last week's highs and had a nice 3-2 dayer to do it. So we'll see if anything more comes of that. INO, we're still watching, obviously, the virus stuff. And INO does this weekly, RevStrat, inside, hammering up. The issue with this is that it did its job. Once it takes that out, we're looking to take that and that. We did it, right? Because how are you going to get up this thing, all right? So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. This could spend years in this range, years. So it doesn't mean we don't trade it. It just means we trade the setups and then we defend. We're not going to hold unless you have a nice gain, and then you can protect it. But if it comes back through here is the problem, because here's these two are an outside bar of these two. See that? So then if you came back into here, potentially come back down through, but we'll see. Marna. And Marna still above last week's highs, had some rough afternoon, but inside month to the upside, just into exhaustion, so we're aware of that. And then on the 60, gave us this, boom, right, like so. Just on here. The 2-2 reversal. And so I talked about this in the halftime show, but this is really important. People are like, but the Call of Duty's to the upside, it's inside month and up. I'm like, yeah, but you're going into new highs. And so when it takes this out, all right, that's a 2-2 60-minute major reversal. All right, 60 minutes still a major reversal. It's also at the beginning of the day. So right here, when it takes this out, it not only changes the day back to red because this is the daily opening, but the 60 is a 2-2 reversal. Boom, wipes them all out in one shot, except for these guys. Exhaustion risk, and back into the mother bar like so. Go to, let's see, what was that, Amazon again? Amazon was a nice 3-2, but Shop, that was really nice. Boom, and Shop did its job. 2 up, 2 down, 2 up month into the highs, right? Do we know about that? We did, because we also had a inside weaker to do it. Boom. So then this week when it goes piling up into here, you're up into exhaustion risk, and you can watch that 60 on the opening and see ya. All right, so we'll see. It had a 100-point range today, so I'd keep an eye on that as far as trading. Good chance it goes inside day, but certainly whenever you have things moving $100 in a day, that's something that's going to get our attention. If we go to NVAX, and NVAX here goes inside day, albeit $6 range, plenty. It's still month and up, and it still does have this exhaustion risk from here because it took out all this stuff, and it's a matter of can you walk up all this kind of stuff even running out of the inside month. So we'll watch that as the virus and all that kind of stuff. Beyond the meats, still an inside month, but does take out last week's highs, so there's sometimes some nice movement in there. We'll see. Also, with the oil shenanigans, you've got the tankers as TNG taking out last week's highs. It also comes up and takes out last month's hammer. All right, we're watching it with TNK, and these are minute by minute kind of things. just as we know that oil is just taken over. So as far as people's attention span, crowd takes out last week's highs, goes outside day today, and just trying to finish off here this monthly 2-2. So you can see here the exhaustion on this above here is that. Right, then it's a matter of can you get up into there, run out a month. Overstock. What? Overstock. It's above last month's highs. It's above last week's highs. So you can see just a little bit of exhaustion out of this stuff here. But we'll see if we can go up and take out this, because you can see tight range, take out one side, take out the other, broadening formation. So we'll see if that can continue. Clovis. Clovis taking out last week's highs, and that's still here flirting with the month. 847, you're above that. So still 2-2 monther. We'll see. Just running out a month. And Clovis for the day goes inside day. So we'll see what comes of that. Here, HEAR. See, I'm going down the food chain here. Well, there's not too much on the upside, but here does take out last week's highs, and it also has got this in the month. Here, the hammer 2-2 back up, and it's been higher, so we'll see. Shake Shack wakes up. We're closed. Oh, well. Inside week and up, still in this here. So we're still looking to see if we can take this out. 48.49. But discernibly to the downside. When you go to the weeklies, here, you're going to see the big downside. You're going to see MU, inside week and down. American Airlines, slightly inside week and down. Macy's going to zero, so it would appear. You've got Coke here. LVS with earnings coming out tomorrow, and of course you can watch that with MLCO and Win. Still an inside week there, and Win still the inside week, so we'll see what comes of that. MGM takes out the inside week to the downside. Southwest Air, so the usual suspects, and you can see this going back and forth, and this is why you watch the new time frames. Look at this. If you just followed the weekly, you'd know which direction this thing was going, right? It's going down. Now it's going up. It's going down. It's going up. It's going down. Now see if we can get out of this range. You can watch that with the trannies and all that kind of stuff. So Ross Stores, got some retail taking the inside weekend down. We've got KSS, TJ Maxx, all inside weeks to the downside. The good part for some of these things is there's still 2-bar patterns. It hasn't taken out the previous, right? So we'll see if this kind of stuff accelerates. Obviously, with earnings coming out, we're going to be staying handily on the gap list as that continues. Let's see, what else do we got here? Yeah, financials. Eesh. Prudential here going inside week and down. If you look at FAS here, trying to go inside week to the downside in FAS. KRE still inside. That was XLF. And XLF still inside week, so if you can get a break of this XLF, you might get these banks to throw up a little bit more, because you got Citicorp still working on the inside week. American Tower taking the inside week down. You can see how nice of a rally this was. And this is like when we talk about exhaustion risk. Look at this. This thing went boom below 180 all the way back up over 260. And at this point, right, anybody would say the chart looks good, it's going to the highs. When we say exhaustion risk, you better stay up there. Otherwise, they back off and go inside week and drops back in. As always, you can watch that with the SBAC and the CCI. Knowing your subsectors is always key. Got some REITs like BXP, I believe, inside week and down. Yeah, REIT BXP has AVB. AVB working on that inside week and down too. And the REITs. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to waste too much time today. Like I said, we're getting closer to the end of the month. And then we really want to see who's closer to taking out the inside months to the upside, who can be back near the lows that's not almost already at zero. And then do we go inside month? What is that all going to look like? Because we're still on lockdown. We still don't have, some states are going to try and open here. We don't know what that looks like, and so that's why you trade the price action that's in front of you. Because when you, especially in an environment like this, if you dig in your heels on what you think should be happening instead of what actually is, that's how people get carried out. That's how you have stuff like oil blowing up, people on the wrong side and going negative, something you'd never seen before, right? So fortunately, stocks can only go to zero. So you do have that, but they can go to zero, and they do. So be careful, stay disciplined, and let's get through this. We'll see what the earnings look like. We had Netflix coming out. I haven't checked that. And we'll just let them come into the opening and go earnings by earnings, gap by gap, and oil contract by contract to see what happens over there. All right, that's going to do it for this week. I'm Rob Smith, by Quant VTF here at T3 Live, the Wheels in Motion Show.